Hello everyone, it's Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and it's Primal Clash. The whole set's been released in English, so it's time to review it all. I'm going to show off pretty much the best cards, the stuff with the interesting abilities, and all that good stuff. Going to leave out some of the less important cards of the set, the stuff that's just going to be sat in the back of your binder. Here are the supporters of the set and all the nice full arts there. Let's get into it. We're starting off with Archie's Ace in the Hole. Very cool name. And basically, you can only play this card when it's the last card in your hand. So this is very awkward. It's not going to be a supporter you're going to use a whole lot, but when he comes off, his ability is fantastic. You get to put a water Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench. And notice the wording there, it doesn't need to be a basic, it can be any water Pokemon. So as you can see to the right of the actual card, I've put a multitude of different things that are going to be useful for using Archie's Ace in the Hole with. I'll get onto those in a second. And not only that, but you get to draw 5 cards. So it's a really, really strong card. Drawing 5 and putting potentially a stage 2 onto your bench or anything like that. Just really, really strong. The issue is going to be, how can you do this? How can we consistently get Archie to be pulled off in a game? And really, you have to gear your deck around having a high VS Seeker count, probably high Battle Compressor, getting Archies into the discard pile. Also get the card that you want in the discard pile. For example, if you want Aurorus on your field via Archie, you would have to Battle Compressor away the Aurorus. And then also in your deck, you'd have to have insta-play cards and cards that can reduce your hand as much as possible. So high Ultra Ball count, a lot of insta-play cards, I don't know, Town Map or something like that. Loads of cards that can just get you down to a 0-card hand, either with the Archie or with the VS Seeker, and then use him to try and get a Water Pokemon in play. But if you can get this, if someone finds out a way to make this work, there's so many good things you can search for. One thing is an Aurorus, notoriously difficult to get out, these fossil type Pokemon. Fossil research is just not good enough, really. But Ice Shield, it's a great ability, and if you combine it with Primal Kyogre, which I'll go over in a second, it means you can survive stuff like Aggron's attacks and stuff like that. Just very useful. Empoleon and Swampert, you'll see, I'll go over him in a second. Diving Draw's great ability and attack command, can do good damage for just 1 water energy. Blastoise, obviously, Blastoise has been massive. Deluge is awesome. These Rain Dance abilities are fantastic. Greninja as well for Water Shuriken, and also Primal Kyogre. I'll go into that in a second. Obviously, Kyogre has a Spirit Link and all that stuff. You'd have to evolve. But if you have Archie, you can just slap him straight onto your bench, as if it was a basic Pokemon. So there's a lot of good support for these water types, and if people can get Archies working effectively, we could see a whole bunch of different decks coming out from that. In my opinion, I don't think it's a card that you'd play 4 of. You'd probably play 1 or 2 of, and not really rely on using him in the game, but if you can, you get a good tech on the field. So really, it's not about having like 0 Squirtles and 4 Blastoise and 4 Archie's Ace in the Holes. It's more like, if you can pull it off in the game, fantastic. We've just gone and got ourselves a Blastoise. That's how I sort of see the card. I'll go over it a bit more when we talk about the decks in the future, when we actually start getting our hands on some of these cards. But at the moment, that's how I'm seeing the card will be played. Also, alongside Archie, we've got Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. Interesting name, I don't know why they went for that. I'll let you guys decide on your own about it. But essentially, he is the same thing. You can play him only when he's the last card in your hand, but this time it's a fighting from your discard that you get to put on the bench. And here's a couple of examples of good fighting types that we could look for. Also, you get to draw the 5 as well. So here we go, Primal Groudon EX, I'll go over him in a second. Also Rhyperior, he's strong. Tyrantrum, another fossil type, very difficult to get out. He's an absolute powerhouse if he gets going. Chew Up can do 150 if your opponent has special energies attached to it. And obviously he has access to Bangle, so you can just wipe stuff clean off the board. Mega Lucario, he was made in before the Spirit Link, so he's obviously difficult to get out at the moment. Potentially Maxie's a way of getting him onto your bench. And Machamp with that huge awesome ability, doing 20 more damage to your opponent's active. All of these cards can be found a lot easier with Maxi if you're able to pull him off. So they're two very, very powerful cards, very interesting cards. We don't see mechanics like this on supporters very often. But it's going to be interesting how people get creative with these guys, and hopefully they're going to be awesome. And next up we have Teammates, my favourite supporter in the set by far. This card is absolutely fantastic. You may only play it if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Bear that in mind, because if you die to laser, that's in between turns. So you have to die to damage, but if one of your Pokemon was knocked out last turn, you get to search your deck for 2 cards and put them into your hand. That is absolutely insane. You can grab anything. It's like a double computer search. It's awesome. It's such a strong card. Grab anything you need for that turn. Very reminiscent of Twins, the card that you can see, slightly smaller to the right of it. A very, very popular card for a lot of setup decks. And hopefully Teammates can bring the return of setup decks. Maybe throw up a low HP basic to start attacking with, start setting up your board, maybe. Stuff like, what's it called? Daden, who can put 2 Pokemon on your bench and stuff like that. And then when your opponent knocks it out, you're not too fussed about losing just the Daden and 1 energy. And then you can Teammates next turn. So it could be the return of setup decks with Teammates, and I am all for this. I'm really glad about this card. This card is going to be awesome. Also, bear in mind, it's the second card in the format now that can actually search DCEs. So decks like Flareon are going to love seeing Teammates in the deck. So, like I say, we're going to be talking about decks and stuff when we get our hands on the cards, but myself and Jack are already playtesting and thinking about how we're going to build these new decks and what get stronger and whatever. I've got a lot to say about this set and stuff, so stay tuned, definitely. But Teammates, definitely my favourite. I think it's actually my favourite card in the set. It's absolutely fantastic. Reminiscent of Twins, that was obviously so successful in the past. Finally, we have Professor Birch's Observations. Now, I'm not entirely sold on this card. I'll tell you what it does. You shuffle your hand and flip a coin. If heads, you draw 7. Fantastic. If tails, you draw 4. Not so good. The thing I need to think about really is, would you play this over N? Definitely not. Would you play it over Juniper? Definitely not. But would you play it over something like Shauna or Bianca? Possibly. Obviously, those 2 cards aren't seeing too much play, but sometimes people like putting in an extra 1 of or 2 of supporters just for consistency, and potentially Birch can find a place in those sorts of decks. Drawing 7 is obviously great, and it's shuffle draw as well, so you don't have to discard anything. But on that coin flip, I'm not a player who likes flipping coins myself. I don't leave it to chance. I try and have an all or nothing type deal with my cards. And drawing 4 is terrible. But think about, compared to Shauna, who can just draw you 5 whatever, half the time you're going to be getting 2 extra cards, which is awesome. But also half the time you're getting only 1 less. So I guess the rewards outweighs the cost if you flip tails. So I would personally play Birch over Shauna, but it's obviously up to you. And he's just another supporter into the pool that we have, so I'm obviously glad to see it. I would like it to have been a better card, but still. On to the tools now. A couple of exciting things. We've got Spirit Link's EXP Share makes a return, that you can see that there. And we have Weakness Policy as well. EXP Share, this was a fantastic card. When it was first released, it's been out of format just for this format, I think, and it's pretty good. Useful for decks that don't have its own built-in energy acceleration. You can use EXP shares, maybe something like a Masquerain to move EXP shares around. We've seen that with the tool drop deck work very effectively. So EXP share is a good card and it's something to look out for. It makes cards like Terrakion very playable once again. Especially now that Terrakion has all that fighting support as well. That thing will hit like a truck if he gets like a strong and stuff on him. So EXP share, good to see him back. Onto the Spirit Link cards. We have 4 Spirit Links, Groudon and Kyogre. I don't know why they didn't do the orbs, the red and blue orbs, because that would have made much more sense. Especially because Kyogre and Groudon aren't Megas, they're Primal evolutions. So surprised they didn't do that. Either way, we've got Spirit Links. We also got the Aggron and the Gardevoir. So spoilers, those are 2 Megas in the set. I'll get onto them in a moment. But it's good to see all the Megas now getting Spirit Links so that they're probably going to be more playable. And honestly, I think 3 of them are really playable, 1 of them's okay. I'll get onto those in a second. So finally, we have weakness policy, and this is an awesome tool. Much better than seeing like stage 2s like Leave Annie or something getting rid of weakness. This time we just have it on a tool card, and how many times have you lost just because of stuff like that? People are playing Shadow Circle in Yveltal just to deal with stuff like Manectric. So weakness policy is obviously going to be a very good inclusion. It means that Yveltals can just be without a weakness. Stuff like Genesec's really struggling against Pyroar. Everything is a ×2 weakness, and if you're trying to tank, having a weakness policy is just so good for that. It means that you don't just get countered straight away and die. So weakness policy, very, very strong card. I think it's going to be great for tanking. We'll get onto the Kyogre in a moment, but it's going to be a very playable card, but it has a grass weakness. So weakness policy could well be seen in those types of decks. Next up, we have stadiums. We've got Rough Seas, Scorched Earth, Shrine of Memories, and Silent Lab, so 4 stadiums. First off, we have Rough Seas. A very good stadium, I think. And once during each player's turn, that player may heal 30 damage from a water or lightning type. So it's a potion specific to water or lightnings. You may have seen my Manectric video I did about a week ago. And I played 2 Jinx in there, and no stadiums. And when this new set comes out, I'm taking those Jinxes straight out and putting 2 Rough Seas in, 100%. Because the healing aspect of Mega Manectric is fantastic at the moment. And having this as not only healing, but also a counter stadium to opponents' stadiums, very, very useful card. Also, like I say, I'll get into the Primal Kyogre in a moment, but it does have 240 HP. So having Rough Seas could make it a massive tank, very difficult to take down, especially if we put like a hard charm or something on it. So Rough Seas, very strong card, helping these high HP lightning and water types tank a little bit better, and it gives them a good specific stadium. Next up, we have Scorched Earth, and there's loads of random other cards around at the moment. I'll get into those. I'll show you why they're in there now. Scorched Earth, once during each player's turn, that player may discard a fire or fighting energy from their hand, and if they do, he or she draws 2 cards. So as you can see, there's a Fiery Torch in the top right. Fiery Torch discards a fire to draw 2, so Scorched Earth is very similar to this. It's going to be a very good stadium, I think. Blacksmith, of course, is a way that we can capitalize on this. We draw 2 cards, and then we can use Blacksmith for energy acceleration. So we put the fire in the discard and then Blacksmith it back on. Awesome. The combo with Fiery Torch hasn't been so great, but mainly it's because you need them both in the hand. You need both a fire and the torch in hand. But if you get a Scorched Earth down, all you need to find is the fire energy. So especially if Scorched Earth stays in play, if I'm honest, that's not too realistic because stadiums are going to be everywhere this format. They already are at the moment, and we've got 4 new ones to add to the pool. But as long as you have Scorched Earth, you just need to find fire energy. The stadium, I think, is actually going to be found a new home for the fighting types. It really helps Landorus, that you can see in the bottom left here. It really helps his Shout of Power out, and it will be very strong for helping you set up Landorus EXs and Lucarios, potentially even the Mega Groudon that I'll get into in a second. The only issue is, at the moment, Fighting Stadium is already a very popular choice for fighting decks. So you're going to have to think, is it better than Scorched Earth or not, really? You could potentially play 2 different stadiums, a mix of the 2 in your deck. But obviously that's up to you. And at the moment, I think Fighting Stadium is just way too strong to take out of your list right now. So Scorched Earth, it's potentially good, but at the moment, I don't think it's going to see way too much play. It could come into play for Landorus, though, helping it set up with its first attack, Shout of Power, so that you can attach to the bench quite happily, and also set up your hand for the future turns. Next up, we have Shrine of Memories, and I like this stadium. I don't think it's going to see too much play, but I do like it. Each player's evolved Pokemon can use any attack from its previous evolutions. They still need the necessary energies. And this is pretty much a carbon copy of Celebi EX's Time Recall ability that you can see there. And at the moment, I'm thinking how many decks actually use Celebi EX? Not many at all. Probably because it's only a 110 HP EX Pokemon, and it's easily sniped, and once he's killed or whatever, not sniped, I mean captured up and killed for 2 prizes, and once the Celebi goes down, your opponent's, or your strategy goes down. Here we can just have 4 copies of Shrine of Memories, hope to always have the stadium in play so that we can use it. At the moment, Gourgeist is the card that I've seen with Celebi EX, and obviously he has a powerful ability, and he can use the Night March attack when you have a Celebi on the bench right now, and that's quite a rogue deck that people are having fun with at the moment. The obvious issue is they have Dimension Valley at the moment, so that you can Night March for just a DCE. So it's going to be interesting to see how Shrine of Memories fits into the format. But regardless, I think it's a better option than Celebi EX. So if you are going to be going for an attack on your lower evolution, Shrine of Memories is stronger than Celebi in almost every department. It's just the fact that you can't play other stadiums, such as Dimension Valley for the Gourgeist, which is a bit painful. So that's Shrine of Memories. Onto Silent Lab. Each basic Pokemon in play, hand, and in the discard pile has no abilities. So it's a Garbodor for just basic Pokemon. And as you can see on the right here, I've put Safeguarders. They're obviously shut down. They can cause a lot of issues to EX decks, and Garbodor was often an answer to these Safeguarders. Now you can play Silent Lab if you wish. Obviously the Execute, I just put that there because it's in the discard, and of course Silent Lab stops the hand and the discard pile, so you can't Propagation, can't Stellar Guidance with a Jirachi, that can be very disruptive for an opponent. And decks like Virgin, who are big basics with these good abilities, they got shut down as well. So Silent Lab, very disruptive to basic Pokemon, and it helps you against Safeguarders if you're an all EX deck. But it's not going to save you against stuff like Pyro, and it's still obviously allowing your opponent, if they play Stage 2s or anything, or Stage 1s, they're still going to have their abilities. So I'm not completely sold on this card. Personally, I would still play Garbodor as it is now, but Silent Lab, a pretty strong stadium for when Garbodor leaves the format, I think. Next up, we have the trainers. We have a couple of returning trainers. You can see the Gold Switch and the Gold Enhanced Hammer. These are reprints of 2 cards already in the format. We also see Rare Candy return, Escape Rope gets a reprint, and Energy Retrieval as well. And for the new cards, there's 4 new trainer cards that I've got onto a second there. I've also shown, in the bottom right, you can see Weakness Policy. That gets a gold one. I didn't actually put that in the picture for the Weakness Policy earlier. But that's there, just so that you know. These are the 4 gold trainer cards. So first off, we have Acrobike. It's a helpful drawing trainer. You get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into the hand and discard the other. It could be very, very useful for decks like Bronzong that want to discard like energies and stuff like that. Also, it's going to be very useful for this Swampert card. I'll get onto his ability in a second, but basically Acrobike allows you to find any card with Swampert, which is really strong. A great combo. So that's going to be awesome. The discard can be painful though, so I'm not completely sold on it. At the moment, we have a lot of strong trainer draw in roller skates and bicycles and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting where Acrobike fits in. If it is to play, or if it is to see play anywhere, I imagine it would be with these Swampert cards if you have a deck with a thick line of Swampert. Next up, we have Dive Ball, and this could be one of the cards that allows you to have a thick line of Swampert. You get to search your deck for a water. That's it. Just find any water Pokemon. This is an amazing search card just for waters. Obviously, because it's specific to water, it's limited in its uses. But pretty much every water deck will want to play this card. It means that stuff like Empoleon lines and stuff, we've seen Empoleon be strong in the past. And now it's just going to be so easy to search this guy out. With the combination of like 4 Ultra Ball and 4 Dive Ball, you're going to have a lot of consistency getting out Empoleons, Blastoises, Swamperts. And I think water types are probably going to be the only ones able to play Stage 2s once again. Because Seismitoad is an issue right now, stopping Rare Candy and stuff. But if you can get a couple of Dive Balls off early on, you can set yourself up for the game. And yeah, Dive Ball's just really strong. Grabs you all your Stage 2s and stuff. Just really good card. We also have Fresh Water Set. I'm not completely sold on this card. You get to heal 20 from everything, so that's quite good at helping you not only heal. It's probably stronger than Potion overall. Potion does an extra 10, but only to the active. If your opponent's going to be sniping you, it's pretty useful, but then again, we still have Mr. Mime right now. So Fresh Water Set, I don't think it's going to be too useful right now, but I would probably play it over Potion. Finally, we have Repeat Ball, and I love this card. I really do. You get to search your deck for a Pokemon with the same name as one in play. And I think this is going to be an absolute godsend for Crobat. At the moment, I've already got it built. I've got Wobbuffet Crobat built with 4 Repeat Balls in there. And as soon as you have a Wobbuffet, you can Repeat Ball. You can Repeat Ball Zubats, Golbats, and Crobats. And that is absolutely insane. It just makes it so consistent to grab out these Pokemon, and for anyone who's tested with Wobbuffet Crobat before, it's just been missing a bit of spark. Really, it's missed out on if you like N and you don't actually find your Golbat or something, you're only hitting for like 10 or 20 damage with your Wobbuffet. And Repeat Ball really helps you get these lines out early. You can find extra Zubats straight away. You can find Golbats. It's pretty much useful throughout your whole game. So Repeat Ball, really good card for that deck in particular. I'm not sure how playable it's going to be in a more general sense. Most of the time, you want the utility of an Ultra Ball instead of a Repeat Ball. But for me, I feel like Repeat Ball is definitely going to find a home alongside Crobat and Wobbuffet. I really like Repeat Ball. Next up, we have Special Energies. We've got Shield Energy, which really annoyed me, and Wonder Energy. Shield Energy is annoying because we used to have Special Metal, which reduces 2. Shield Energy just reduces 1, or 10, I should say. So that's annoying, but obviously still really strong. We have Bronzong to accelerate metals. Obviously you can't accelerate Shield Energy, but just an extra thing that we can put into the metal deck to make it more viable. We also have Wonder Energy. I don't think this card is very strong. You prevent all of your opponent's attacks except damage done to your fairy Pokemon this card is attached to. It's really not that useful. It stops a couple of things, but nothing too important in the format right now. It wouldn't stop stuff like Seismitoad because that's an effect on the opponent, not on the Pokemon. I think it would stop you getting energy discarded from you, but I don't think it's too important. I would personally rather just play regular Fairy Energy because then we can Geomancy it onto our Pokemon with the Xerneas non-EX. So Wonder Energy I think is going to be one for the binder for now, but Shield Energy could give a real boost to Metal decks.